Hello everybody, welcome to this course, The Art of Living, a philosophy course that allows you to learn from some of the most intelligent philosophers from all of time. And we're here with Jack Butler. How are you?
I'm great. How are you, Gavin?
I'm very good. Now, we are on an island in the middle of the Atlantic Ocean in Iceland at the base of a volcano just by the town hall. Now, this week we're talking all about collective decision making, which is where lots of people come together to make a rule and enforce it for the betterment of the entire community. Now, around the world, ordinarily, democracy means that we vote in a leader or a politician who will make decisions for the entire country. Even one person can make a decision for millions and millions of people. But here in Iceland, things are a little bit different. Jack, what happens?
Well, in Iceland, they're very invested in the idea of democracy, but they don't always do parliaments the way that other societies do. They have a concept here called Þjóðfundur, which means the People's Assembly. So in 2008, things weren't going so well in Iceland. The country was in a bit of trouble. And so the people got together in their communities and decided they wanted to change the constitution, change the way that the rules work in Iceland. And they succeeded.
Wow, amazing. So if they didn't like some of the rules that were in place and they weren't benefiting everybody, they could just rise up, come together and change them.
That's right.
That's amazing. So, has there been a philosopher who coined this, who talked about it and taught other people?
Yeah, one of the most famous philosophers who thought about collective responsibility is an American philosopher named John Rawls. He lived in the 20th century, the 1900s, and he tells this great story of him running a course at Harvard University. So it was a nice sunny day in his classroom in Harvard, and he brings in his university students, very smart students, thinking about how the world works. And he talked to his students and he said, I want you to imagine, I want you to design a society as perfectly as possible. And he only gave them one rule. He said the one rule is that you need to imagine that you will be born as a baby in this society.
Right.
And you don't get to decide whether you're born in the richest house or the poorest house in this society. You just have to imagine that you could be born anywhere.
And the rules would have to be in place to benefit them regardless of where they were going to be born or the kind of family they were going to be born into. So what happened?
Well, John Rawls put this thought experiment to his students, and in thinking about that problem, his students had to imagine, if I'm born into the poorest family in this society, then I'll want the society to be really fair. I'll want it to have good processes so even the poorest people can make really important and valuable contributions to their society. Unlike some societies where only the wealthiest and most powerful people make decisions.
Wow, and here in Iceland we see that it works perfectly. One of the happiest, most content nations on the entire planet. So, as our children learn from John Rawls, and you of course, what are they going to do this week to try to utilize this new skill in their school?
There's two things that I think students can do this week. I want you to take John Rawls' example and turn it into a comic book that you can add to your booklet. And secondly, I want students to imagine one new rule that could be implemented at your school, and you need to imagine that it's a rule that might apply for all students. So it has to benefit all students equally, no matter how much power they have within the school.
Wow, what an amazing concept. So this week we want you to take knowledge from John Rawls and Jack Butler here and start thinking about a new rule you can put in place in your school. Remember, you've got to take consideration for every single child in your community. Kindergarten, the top of the school, people who live very far away, the rich, the poor, and the people who live close, to make sure that the rule suits everybody and has a positive impact on the entire school community. It's been amazing to have you this week, Jack.
Thanks so much, Gavin.
And we'll see you all next week.